During his press conference yesterday, President Obama said the reason he called Georgetown law student Sandra Fluke after Rush Limbaugh called her a slut and a prostitute was because he never wanted his daughters, 13-year-old Malia and 10-year-old Sasha, to fear the consequences of publicly taking a stand on a controversial issue. But he may have also been thinking of his days as a law student. Back when Barack Obama was Sandra Fluke's age, he too was a law student, and he too took a risky stance on a very public controversy. At the time, in 1990, the Harvard Law School had only 3 black tenured professors and 5 women tenured professors. The legendary Derek Bell, Harvard's first African-American tenured law professor, protested the lack of diversity by taking unpaid leave until the university hired a woman of color. Presidents of the Harvard Law Review, the student-run law journal, were usually among the most cautious students at the law school, grooming themselves even then for Senate confirmation hearings, for Attorney General or the Supreme Court, speeding away from controversy wherever it might erupt on campus. But the Harvard Law Review never had a president quite like Barack Obama. Knowing that prestigious law firms aren't eager to hire leaders of protests, Barack Obama took the risky step of siding with Professor Bell. The media website BuzzFeed posted this video of the young Barack Obama's taking a stand.
And I remember that the black law students had organized an orientation for the first-year students. And one of the persons who spoke at that orientation was Professor Bell. And I remember him sauntering up to the front and not giving us a lecture, but engaging us in a conversation and speaking the truth. Now, how did this one man do all this? How's he accomplished all this? He hasn't done it simply by his good looks and easy charm, although he has both in ample measure. He hasn't done it simply because of the excellence of his scholarship, although his scholarship has opened up new vistas and new horizons and changed the standards of what legal writing is about.
Joining me now is one of the leaders of the student protest at Harvard Law School in 1990, Keith Boykin. Keith, when we hear that sound, as that camera is panning toward Barack Obama, we hear that voice. It could have been him speaking somewhere yesterday. You were one of the few among us who heard him then, who hear him now. Could you see in that Barack Obama standing there with the microphone that day the kind of thing that might be in his future?
I had no idea at that time, actually. We were in the midst of creating a movement for diversity on campus, and we invited Barack to speak because he was the first African-American president of the Harvard Law Review. His mere presence was enough to illustrate the importance of diversity. But he got up there and gave a wonderful speech. He spoke about Derek Bell. He didn't speak so much about the issue of diversity. He spoke about Derek Bell. And the idea that somehow people are trying to vilify him today it's just astonishing.
Well, this is the Fox News, this is the business Fox News is in. They've decided suddenly that Derek Bell is one of the great American radicals and dangers to society, and tenured Harvard law faculty have always been among the most threatening and frightening people among us. I think that, people like, I remember him around the campus, people like him are thought provokers. They push ways of thinking about different things. Tell us about Derek Bell.
Well, if you look at that rally, most of the people who were there were not black. Mm-hmm. It's a reflection of how popular Derek Bell was as a professor at the law school among blacks, whites, Latins, Asians, everyone.
And beyond the law school.
And beyond the law school as well. Yeah. He had a critical impact on critical race theory. He was one of the fathers of this legal scholarship. He was a mentor to me and many others. I spoke at his funeral service, his memorial service last fall, and it was just amazing. Hundreds of people showed up at the Riverside Church in Harlem to come out and show their support for him. Jesse Norman sang. Gloria Steinem spoke. The president of NYU came out and spoke. It was a reflection of just the type of person he is. And the idea that Barack Obama would come and embrace him and show his support for him, there's nothing controversial about that at all. Nor is it even news. I actually saw this videotape 4 years ago when a producer from a different network showed it to me and asked me what I thought about it. And I said, well, there's nothing to it. It's just Barack Obama expressing his support for a professor at the law school.
Yeah, PBS used it in 2008. PBS has had the footage since 1990. And so it's like Fox is trying to pretend like, oh, this was hidden and there's some dark secret about the president. president's past affiliations. I mean, it seems to me it's pretty impossible to get in trouble by an association with a member of the Harvard Law School faculty.
Yeah, it's not.
That has never happened before in our history.
And why, the whole idea that somehow Barack Obama or others would want to hide this. Why would anyone want to hide this speech, which shows him A, speaking without a teleprompter, B, speaking so eloquently, and C, speaking about an issue that most
it wouldn't be normally easy to get the president of the Harvard Law Review to show up at any form of protest. Talk about that and how unusual that is.
It was an act of courage, I think, on Barack's part to be able to come and speak. He had not participated in some of the rallies we participated in. We had sit-ins and demonstrations. He didn't do all that, but he came and he stuck his neck out at a time of critical importance when Professor Bell was about to leave, and that was, to me, an act of, I think, not just courage, but an act of integrity that I respect about him.
I think we all see in that video now what the future had for him.
Exactly.
You can just really see it. Keith Boykin, thank you very much for joining me tonight.